welcome back to another episode of our life seasons where we talk about the raw and honest truth to navigating through the different seasons of life. I'm your host Wen. If you've been loving the podcast episodes, do leave a review of this podcast on whichever platform that you're on and let me know which topics are your favorite. Now, let's jump straight into today's topic on the concept of living each day as if it were your last. This episode is actually inspired by one of the podcasts that I was listening to recently, and it got me thinking of how vulnerable life can be. The fact that we do not know what will happen tomorrow or what will happen next. And no, this is not going to be an episode where I instill fear in you or any form of pessimism. That's not it. That's not our life seasons. That's the last thing that I actually want you to think of. So the sole purpose of me recording this podcast episode is to encourage and hopefully get you guys to realize how amazing life can be when you start to take on this concept of living as if every day is your last, and that includes the decisions that you make on a day-to-day basis, the stories you tell yourself, the identity that you actually choose to take on, and ultimately it will change the perspective on life. Now, trust me when I say that having this concept ingrained in my mind was the best decision I ever made, because ever since then, I'm able to fully enjoy life and have moments where I find myself just really appreciating little moments in life which I would have missed previously. And now I just find myself feeling so much happier and experiencing more good days because of the energy that I disseminate back into the universe. Everything has to come back in full circle, and that is the amazing part of life when you decide to see it as that, okay? Now, I think the fundamentals of actually living every day as if it was your last is to be able to find balance. I know I probably said this a million times, but I really need you to understand the duality of life is what makes life rich and meaningful. Life is a dance of opposites, right? Both light and dark, joy and sorrow. Embrace both sides, just like how there are two sides of the same coin, right? Don't resist the darkness because it actually helps you to appreciate the light. Vice versa. With this concept, it's about finding balance between living in the present moment and planning for the future. As much as it is important to have goals and plans for the future, I want to also emphasize on the importance of not getting caught up in the what ifs that you miss out on enjoying the present moment. Okay, living in a moment is amazing. Watching sunsets, like that spontaneous activity that you want to do, devouring that slice of cake that you totally deserve, soak it all in. I'm all about living in the present moment. But here's the thing, the future exists too, and guess what, the future is now. I have a whole entire episode on this, episode 29, where I talked about my definition of this word future and how it actually changes the emotion that was associated with it. So changing the way I actually live life. So definitely give that episode a listen if you constantly feel like whatever you desire can only be attained in the future, or you always think that the future is so far away. Episode 29 is really gonna help you. Okay, anyways, what I want to say is that living in a moment doesn't mean forgetting about the future. It's about prioritizing what matters today, right now, while keeping an eye on your long-term goals. The future is equally important, okay? We can't just wander aimlessly hoping for the best. You gotta have some goals, some desires, some dreams you desire to attain, right? Think of it like this. You wouldn't set off on a road trip or a vacation without a map, right? Even if you're open to detours, you gotta have a sense of where you're headed. Your goals and desires are like your map. They keep you moving forward, but they don't have to cramp your style, okay? They don't have to be something that you hold so closely to that you're just not flexible. You still allow for detours or pit stops in between your road trips, or maybe it's just your gut feeling or intuition guiding you to a different route from what you initially planned out with the same destination in mind, and that is okay, right? That is very normal. That is ideal, actually. So I want you to ask yourself right now, what does that destination look like to you? Dream big. Don't even think of whether it's possible for you now, because I always say this and I'll say it again. Whatever you deem as a possibility or realistic for you now is actually based on your past experiences, and that is not a fair gauge of what you are capable of achieving now. If and when you choose to believe in yourself and place your trust in not only yourself but in the universe to deliver what it is that you set your eyes on, it is actually made possible for you. Okay, so everything is a possibility. Do not base whatever that you think is possible for your future based on your past experiences. It's just not a good gauge, all right? It may be foreign to you now, but I want you guys to actually start cultivating this mindset of whatever I set my heart out to achieve, I will become. Whatever I desire, I was made to desire for a reason. I believe that I'll receive them, and so I will have them. It is made possible for me. Okay, this mindset is so important. This is honestly so powerful. When you start to ingrain that in your mind, you become unstoppable. Okay, so if you desire to open a cafe or write a book, move to a whole new country, even starting a business, guess what? the you in another dimension is already doing it. That's how I like to think of it. It's all part of manifestation and how the universe works. So for those of you who know, you know, okay, whatever that looks like for you, I love that for you. Whatever dreams or desires that you have, I really, really, really support you and I really love that for you. But here's the secret sauce. I want you to break these desires or dreams into bite-sized milestones, okay? Set long-term goals with short-term actions. That way, every single day, you're taking a step towards that doable future you envision yourself to have. Because having long-term desires like your dream job, travel destinations, things that you just want to accomplish in life, like in this lifetime, provides you a sense of purpose and direction in life. But breaking them down into smaller, achievable tasks can actually help you to focus on the present moment, on today, on this current moment, okay? This keeps the future exciting while also keeping like your present in your daily, like making conscious decisions every single day, and allow you to just live in the present moment and not have to worry about your future. You make it exciting and something that you look forward to instead of something that you dread. Okay, so with all that said, here's the thing. I want you to embrace spontaneity while maintaining commitments. Okay, leave room for unexpected adventures, but don't neglect responsibilities. Maybe it's a last minute event or gathering you wouldn't normally attend, but your intuition is telling you to go. So please listen to your intuition and let it surprise you with where it might lead you. Okay, because I always say this, the last time that I listened to my intuition, I was so amazed and so surprised at like the things that I kind of have manifested or did not think that I would manifest, but manifest in such a way where I would never have thought of. Okay, so I will always recommend, or rather I will always advise to really listen to your intuition and let it lead you. Like if it's a strong calling, if it's something that you just feel in your body that you have to do, you have to go, because your body just wants to, your soul craves for it, just do it. You would never regret listening to your intuition. Okay, that's something that I need you to understand. Now, the ability to be able to be flexible when it comes to your desires and dreams is super important, okay? Focus on the journey, enjoy the process of working towards your desires and dreams, not just the destination. Because I can promise you this one thing, and I've lived through it, okay? If you are constantly focused on the outcome and not truly enjoying the journey of getting there, at the end of the day, you'll feel empty and lost when you reach your goals and desires. I've been through that, done that, I've heard of many stories on this, so just trust me on this, okay? I know it may sound impossible, but that's why you hear people talking about how lost they feel and disappointed they are when they reach their open inverted end goal, because they felt like they rushed through it and was not able to have memories to look back at and be like, oh my god, I actually went through this. Okay, I learned that, I had fun like doing XYZ. This is the type of things that they don't have. Okay, it was a blur, and all they could remember was how tough it was getting there. Even though there might be moments of joy, it wasn't significant enough for them to remember because they choose not to like celebrate moments like that, right? Because at the end of the day, what happened was the whole entire like mindset that they has was to focus on reaching the end goal. Only then they will be happy, and that is a mindset that I don't encourage, because like I mentioned, when you have that mindset, you won't be enjoying little moments and celebrating little milestones. Okay, so that's what I want to let you know, that it's important to enjoy the process as well. Okay, so right now what I want you to do is to take out a piece of paper or just open your own notes app and really take the time to sit and think of the one main destination that you currently want to arrive at. Only one big destination, okay? One that you actually put it into your GPS, which is your subconscious. So think of it as booking a flight for vacation. And yes, there may be delays or transits or just random situations that might come up. And these are the process and journey that I want you to foresee and learn to embrace it. Okay, not allow it to take you aback and just be like, oh my god, why is this happening to me? Just learn and anticipate such processes or such delays and know that everything is happening for you for a reason. Okay, so to see it as part of like a journey of getting to your destination and actually really enjoy it, live it and have fun while you're at it. Don't make it tougher for you by resisting all these things that may seem like a detour, but instead go with the flow, because you never know that these detours are actually a blessing in disguise. And a lot of times these detours are actually a blessing in disguise. Okay, they happen for a reason. So you really never know, and it goes back to these 3 mantras that I mentioned in episode 48 of believing that, you know, it's this or better, or I'm the universe's favorite child. And the last mantra is the universe will never let me make the wrong decisions. Every decision is the one I'm meant to make. And this is something, these 3 mantras are something that I really hold on to, because the last thing I want you to do for seeking balance between the present and future is to actually schedule like the present moment. Okay, that's the last thing that I want you to do because it's so important, and it can be part of like your me time, right? That I mentioned in last week's episode 49, on like the importance of actually focusing on yourself and stop neglecting yourself. This is super important, having me time and just allowing yourself to be in the present moment. Take this time to just indulge in whatever that's around you and just be present. Okay, I want you to dedicate like specific moments each day to do mindfulness practices like meditating or spending time in nature. It can also be as simple as taking slower steps when you're out, and just allow yourself to soak in everything that's around you, right? To notice the people that's around you, the way the birds chirp, the sounds of people chatting, and just vehicles on the road, right? All these sounds and noises, I guess, and just people around you. I want you to be able to just be present and be consciously like observing things like that, okay? So take deep breaths and be grateful that you're living and breathing, that you get another shot at life today, and that itself is enough to fill you with so much gratitude and hope for your future, okay? What I like to do is that for me, I like to actually do this in the morning when I'm commuting to work. My route to work is about like an hour and 30 minutes, and during the 15 minutes walk to the train station, I would put on meditation music on Spotify, and I'll link it down below for those of you who are actually curious, and take this time to kind of look up in the sky and take deep breaths, like really deep breath, 3 deep breaths, and deep as in like really in your gut, and feel the fresh air actually entering your lungs and releasing any heavy emotions or energy from my system, and as I just exhale, right? So this is the exercise that I really love to do. It's only 15 minutes, or do it however long that you need. It really helped me to just place me in the present moment and allow myself to be more grateful for the things that I already have. And I'll kind of run through like the things that I'm grateful for. Like, I'm grateful for the trees, I'm grateful for the fresh air, I'm grateful to be able to go to work, I'm grateful to just be alive, I'm grateful for the water that I have, for the food that I'll be eating, for the people that I'll be meeting that day, for the conversations that I'll be having that day. All these little things, like I'll start to run through my mind of the things that I'll be grateful for, and this is just a very short exercise and you can do it anywhere, okay? So once that's done, I'll consciously observe my surrounding and take note of what I see that day, right? Whether it's like the fallen leaves on the sidewalks or just specific stranger that I found interesting that day. Just enjoy being in the present moment, and on days where I'm just feeling like not my best or worrying about the future, I will remind myself that everything will come to an end. It has to. And this mantra will sound familiar to you because it is my top mantra to tame my anxious mind. And if you're constantly worrying about the future, I really highly recommend you to check out episode 48, where I dove deeper into my top 5 mantras to keep me sane on days where I become a worry freak. Like, these mantras are mantras that I come up with myself and something that I really feel deep within my body, okay? Because the thing about mantras is that you really have to feel it before you can actually start seeing it working for you, all right? Now, speaking of worrying about the future, we tend to worry because we often don't have like a clear idea of what truly matters to us, and that allows us to not know what to focus on, and we allow our minds to kind of start running wild on the possibilities of what might go wrong. And all this can actually be solved with just one question, okay? And that question is, what truly matters to you? Is it mastering that passion of yours? Is it traveling the world? Is it spending quality time with your loved ones? What is it? Like, again, write it down. Write everything down, okay? Knowing your why is actually your compass, guiding you towards the decisions that makes your heart sing, and one that your soul really craves for, okay? Here are some questions to get you started on identifying what truly matters to you. So pause this if you need to and write down your answers, okay? You ready? First one, what are the top values that you actually hold closely to you? Understanding your core values is so important. Example like compassion or integrity or adventure, these might be your values. Helps you actually prioritize actions and experiences that aligns with them. Okay, so this is the first part, top values. What are your top values? Number 2, what are you actually passionate about? Things that actually make you lose track of time. So pursue like hobbies or just passions, and just get into the just because activities, especially one that makes you feel like a kid again, right? One that brings out your curiosity and invites your inner child out to play. So these are really important, and just having fun. You don't have to earn money from it. Something that you truly are passionate about, something that allows you to kind of lose track of time while you're doing it. That's number 2. Okay, the third one is, what kind of relationships do you want to cultivate in this lifetime? how are you like in those relationships. So think about who brings you joy and who you look up to, because chances are you actually gravitate towards them because they reflect who you want to be, okay? Also think about how you are like with those people. Since they bring out the best side of you, knowing how you are like when you're with them actually allows you to step into this higher self of you now before you actually like start attracting your people into your life. At least that is what happened for me. When I start thinking of how I would act, how I would speak to myself, or how I would present myself to people, it actually really helps me to start attracting people like that in my life, people that I really, really want my type of people to be in my life. And that is something that is super, super, super like important for me. Something that I'm very grateful to have also is that people around me, they actually bring me out, like we grow together as a tribe, okay? So you have like your core values, your passion, and on the idea of like the relationship that you want to cultivate now. Let's talk about like the good stuff, right? Ensuring you to actually make the most of each day and live life without regrets. And living life without regrets, I just want to say, doesn't mean a life without mistakes. Okay, this is a huge misunderstanding, or rather for me, like at first, initially, when I think that, oh, I want to live life without regrets means that, I can't have any mistakes, right? That is so not true. It's about learning, growing, and embracing experiences, both the good and bad, right? Back to the duality of life. So let's be honest, having the feeling of regrets really suck, right? One of my biggest fear is to have to say that, like, what if I were to, or I wonder what would have happened if, or I regret not. I really hated the idea of just looking back at life and having regrets. I don't know how you feel about having regrets, but if you're listening to this, I'm sure you don't want to find yourself getting stuck down the road, wondering what if, or just having what if questions. And no, this, like, I want you to take that chance, okay? Especially the thing that has been bothering you, take that chance on it. Tell the person how you feel. Do the things that you've always wanted to do, that is at the back of your mind. Just do anything that makes your heart sing, and just allow your soul to just be like living in the present moment, just being fun, okay? So jump head first into situations that are new but will bring you so much growth in your life. Sure, things might not always go perfectly, and I understand that, but at least you'll know that you gave it your all, okay? That's the most important part. That dream job interview, that crazy dance class that you've been eyeing for, go for it. Even if things don't go exactly according to plan, you'll learn something valuable at least out of it, right? And hey, you might just surprise yourself. So take calculated risk. Don't let fear paralyze you. I always encourage you guys to step outside of your comfort zone and pursue opportunities that aligns with your values, because I do that too and I found it so rewarding. Next on the list of making sure you live life without regret is to actually forgive yourself and others. Holding on to grudges wastes precious time. Okay, seriously, it'll only make your life worse than it's supposed to. So forgive yourself for past mistakes and actually focus on moving forward with the lessons that you have learned and grow with it. So recently, I've been loving this particular phrase, live and let live. Basically, it's a principle that emphasizes tolerance and respect for the ways others like choose to live their life, even if it differs from your own beliefs or preferences. This mindset actually promotes peaceful coexistence by encouraging us to kind of accept the fact that everyone is different, right? We all have different viewpoints of life, values, and desires, and this concept reminds you to avoid imposing your values on others and to just embrace the fact that we're all different and that is okay. So some of the other smaller elements to making sure that you make the most out of each day is to be able to express your feelings. Don't hold back from expressing love, gratitude, or apologize to yourself and even others, okay? Especially to your close one. If you need to apologize, apologize. If you need to know, let them know how you feel, let them know how you feel, okay? We only have a limited amount of time in this lifetime, right? Like it or not. So make full use of it, okay? I want you to be able to learn how to be vulnerable with expressing how you really feel and be able to sit with yourself and work through your emotions and not avoid it, because part of being present is to feel what you feel and be able to acknowledge that it is okay to have big emotions, and some you may not even be able to work through it within a day, but you will eventually with patience and time. I talked a lot more about emotions and working through them in episode 34, so give that a listen. Next on the list is to actually resolve past conflicts or release resentment, and I talked about this in episode 4. Holding on to grudges or unresolved issues actually weighs you down, and some might not be even worth taking up your mental space, right? If you find it hard to forgive someone, even if they did you wrong, or just releasing like resentment in general, this might help you, and it's something I tell myself all the time when I find myself getting triggered. And that is understanding that no matter what that person did to you, no matter how bad that impacted in your life, I want you to choose to be the bigger person every single time. And I know it's not easy, and it takes a lot to let it go, especially when the hurt is caused by someone whom you hold dear to you. But I want you to remember this and remind yourself that everyone is just trying their best to live life to the best of their ability with whatever that they have. Okay, when you understand this, you also learn to let go of perfectionism, because you know that we're all a work in progress. And not only that, you realize that you no longer fear taking risk or making mistakes. You grow through each obstacles, each discomfort, and new situations with grace, and be able to identify like the lessons almost immediately and move forward to be more present in your life, right? You don't hop onto the past, you don't think about what has already happened. You take the lessons and you run with it, okay? All right, as promised, before I end, I kind of want to leave you with this thought, or rather something to ask yourself and think about right now, okay? So if you only had one day to live, would you still care about what people think or say about you? Would you still worry about not having enough money? Would you still hold back on doing what truly lights you up? Would you still spend time doing things you don't enjoy? Would you still hold grudges against someone? Would you still take your loved ones for granted? Would you still push back on taking the actions towards your desires? Would you still prioritize work over spending time with your loved ones or even yourself? Would you compare yourself to someone else you see on social media? Would you still neglect yourself? Would you? Let that sip in. I hope this inspires you to live every day as if it's your last, and use it as a form of motivation to kind of be more present with what's happening around you, instead of taking life for granted, because we are all lucky enough to be on this earth, being given a chance to live out our desires. So please take full advantage of this life that is given to you, okay? Don't waste it away. So that's all for today's episode. As usual, if you have any burning questions or topics that you want me to cover, please drop me a DM on Instagram at Our Life Seasons, or comment on whichever platform that you're listening to so I can get back to you. Alright, I'll see you in the next episode. Bye!